May the Lord Jesus Christ be praised, and let's go forward with Mary. Good evening to all of you, my dear children, in the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, and in the chaste heart of Saint Joseph. Welcome back to our daily morning rubric, Saints and Coffee. Today is Thursday, November 23rd. The Church celebrates the liturgical feast of the third Pope, successor of St. Peter, St. Clement the Roman. He was from Rome, a disciple of the Apostle Paul, and later of the Apostle Peter, a man with great charisma. He was placed in the catalogue of the Apostolic Fathers, and he, Clement the Roman, not to be mistaken with Clement the Alexandrian, also another great Clement, then was forced to go into exile by Trajan and condemned to die by drowning. They placed a stone on his neck and he was thrown into the sea. Tradition has it that his body was later found and kept in an underwater church, cared for by angels. And then he was miraculously taken back to land and taken to Rome. Still today, his mortal remains can be found in Rome. We are speaking of a pope among the first, the third pope, St. Clement, who had a vision. The liturgy today reminds us of this, a divine vision. He had the vision that took him to Rome. He had the vision of the Lamb when he became pope, the Lamb from whose legs a spring of living water was flowing. The Lamb is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ at the center. A church without Jesus Christ is not the Catholic Church any longer, as we see very well in these present days. Saint Clement the Roman. Meanwhile, you have just heard our announcement of all the appointments that we have in our apostolic tour. I asked my collaborators to show a picture of the meeting that took place yesterday and that we published on Facebook. There it is, the meeting we had with the priests. In that post, the only one who was missing was Father Enrico, as he had some previous pastoral engagements in Puglia, so he was not able to be present, but he connected with us and with Father Vincenzo. We did not write about Father Vincenzo because, for obvious reasons concerning his health, he does not adhere to the sodality like you would expect that we do. So this is why we do not write his name. It was a moment of grace, and maybe we can let you hear the greeting that we gave all together, that beautiful video that my collaborators are finding and that we will air in just a few minutes. Today is Thursday, November 23rd, and the prayer of peace of the Sentinels of Bethany will take place at 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's a very important moment of prayer. I would say that today the most important thing to do is to take the rosary in hand and pray more than ever. This is the little Catholic remnant. I have said this, I continue to say it, that we need patience. Whoever wishes to can give me credibility. What can I do about it? The Holy Virgin sends me. I tell her and she sends me. I don't know if they listen to me. I don't know if they believe. This might be the fate of the prophets. Do you remember that when I was preparing for the international gathering in Bologna, I said, now we are the people of the Ave Maria. We are the people of the if. This is because around us, there's a lot of talking, too much blah, 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 as if the church can be saved by chit-chatting and blah, blah, blah. Pay attention, my dear children. No one can busy himself in this work if he does not invest a lot of time in prayer, if they don't become prayer. Therefore, those who belong to the little Catholic remnant must pray all day long. And this appointment at 4 o'clock with the Sentinels of Bethany is a very important appointment. We pray for the priests, for the Church, for the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Do not lose it. And this evening, my catechesis on Padre Pio will not take place as at 8 p.m. as usual, as I'm invited to the podcast of 100 Days as a Line. They tell me at 9 o'clock in Udine. So if you'd like, you can follow the live stream on Riccardo Rochesso's channel. We will have a roundtable titled A Spiritual Battle. They put me in first place. Father Alessandro Minutella, Riccardo Rochesso, Franco Dal Moro, Alessandro Leonardi, Cosimo Massara, and Alessandra Chiavigatti. It is a roundtable. I have to tell you the truth, I'm not very good at roundtables, but how can I say this? They asked me to be present, and whenever I am needed, I will go. There you have it. I will be present. This is the meeting for today. On the other hand, we are already thinking with Father Celestino about the engagements that we will have tomorrow. One was not planned, and this shows us the beauty of our roaming around the world. Well, at lunchtime, I told Father Celestino that he would have to live a long life and that he should resign himself concerning this. Before going to heaven, he needs to spend himself, and us also, for the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. It is a beautiful thing to have been chosen for this, the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the ransom of souls, the saving of souls, for the liberation of the throne of Peter. This is not a small feat. Sister Death and Brother Paradise will have to wait. First, you must grow your beard extremely long, be older than 90 years of age, and be able to wish that the triumph of the Immaculate Heart will rise quickly. You and all the other brother priests. Tomorrow's meeting is very precious, beautiful, as we are in Gorizia unexpectedly and for an unplanned event. Tomorrow, November 24th, it wasn't in the program, but people in the Little Remnant from Friuli, with their coordinator Franca, invited us to be there at 4:30 until 7:30 at the Rist Hotel Airport, Villa Armata 20, Foligno, Re di Puglia, in Gorizia. So tomorrow, for all those people who are part of the Little Remnant in Friuli, they can be present. And we will be there in Gorizia. The following day, on Saturday, we will be in Verona for another one of our most important meetings. Now, I understand I'm aware of the strategic ways of participation. I've become a strategist. I said in Rome, right? Milan, Verona. And the other meetings were already done. What can we do? Numerically, those are the most significant locations. Rome, Milan, Verona. It's always a competition. Be careful because Torino and Piemonte is also there in the competition, so to speak. So you people from Milan, be on the lookout. Those from Rome also, because Piemonte is right at your heels. All those appointments and meetings are very, very significant. The video on the meeting, which took place yesterday, is ready now, in only a minute, maybe a bit less than that. Here we bless everyone at the end of the gathering that took place in the afternoon here in Austria, and it lasted about 2.5 hours. Our collaborators will let you see it now. May God be praised, and let's go forward with Mary. We have gotten together in Austria, we priests of the Marian Sodality. Only Father Enrico is not here for pastoral reasons, but he's united with us, and we live in our hearts the holy blessing of our Lord, and we bestow it to the entire little Catholic remnant. In nomine Patris et Filius et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. May Jesus Christ be praised. There. We've had many important moments of comparison, discussion, and I could say of forecasts for the future, as we cannot think about going on in the future in this way. In a bit, we will talk about this. So here are the next meetings: Ancona, Sunday. Then we'll remind us of all the other ones. We remind you that there's also meeting Sunday at Tre Baseliche, a very nice one at 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the chapel of Little Tabor. I'm also asking you who live in northern Italy to organize yourselves well. So Sunday at 5 p.m. we'll be at Tre Baseliche. There we'll have to have a talk on the future of Roman Catholicism, which is very, very important. I wanted to talk about this theme at Tre Baseliche because, as is Little Nazareth, this chapel also is very near and dear to my heart. Then on Tuesday, November 28th, we'll be at Loreto, and Wednesday, November 25th, in Bologna. All the other meetings, including the one in Sardinia, will be communicated as time goes on. I remind you, my dear people of Sardinia, that Saturday, December 2nd, Sunday, December 3rd, Father Gebhard and Father Pavel will be in Sassari in Cagliari. They are sacrificing themselves, as we pastors are doing for all of us, to travel around according to what heaven proposes us to do, and according to that humble life of submission, notwithstanding all of the criticism. Very well, my dear children, this is what the program that will be ahead of us in the next few meetings. I remind you that our seminary keeps going forward and needs your financial help. I thank everyone who has been very busy trying to sustain this work that, as you can see, is growing. Considering all the trials, this is surprising. The work grows, it goes ahead and becomes stronger and stronger. Now my collaborators will show you the page showing our donation information if anyone would like to financially contribute periodically. I thank all those who every month remember us and help us with these needs, especially now that we have so many young men in our seminary. Finally, we can talk about today's meeting, which I find very, very important, following the one that we had yesterday with our brother priests. We talked about the current situation, all the changes that are awaiting us in the future. So I'll be a voice for all of them, and naturally, I will also develop my considerations. The title, as you can see in today's broadcast, is The False Church or an Occupied Church? This is the issue. You know very well that I was the first one, and I will combat always to have this primacy without being prideful. To shine the light on the Magna Quaestio, as I've called it, this was the existence of the two popes, a theological nostrum, never seen before. Both men dressed in white, who greeted each other, exchanged congratulations, prayed together. It's a theological monstrosity that is unacceptable for anyone who has a modicum of logos, of intelligence. And I said right away, paying the price firsthand, that this monster was unacceptable, as two popes cannot exist simultaneously. If we would have one that renounces his duties according to the laws of the Church, something that Benedict has not done, as we said during the last few days, it is necessary that he leave, that he gets out of the way, to say it in a brutal way. But it is necessary. You cannot resign and continue being a resident of the Vatican. You need to get out of the way. Wear another type of clothing. Let people lose track of you, for them to forget about you. No one should know who you are or where you are any longer. Otherwise, you are creating a massive case of schizophrenia in Roman Catholicism. Because of Benedict XVI, who did not go away, and evidently he did not go away, because he remained Pope, and therefore he was not to blame. But my statements are meant to be provocative. Let's say for all of the Unicum, and all those who think they can deceive themselves into thinking that Benedict XVI really give up his post. Because of him, Roman Catholicism, solid and stable until then, granite-like, has become schizophrenic and bipolar. Bipolar Catholicism has invaded the Church following the horrific images of the two popes together. Naturally, I answered an appeal and came forward to say that this is not possible. Absolutely impossible is the existence of two popes dressed in white. As, just like we said in yesterday's catechesis, the role of the Pope Emeritus doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a Pope Emeritus. It does not exist. An emeritus? What does that mean? Well, it really doesn't mean anything. The juridical absolute that demonstrates the fact that canonists are insignificant in the Vatican, they are only courtiers serving a regime. These men are pitiful because they are the first to know that there are insoluble anomalies, unacceptable anomalies in this false life of the Church, but they pretend nothing is happening. They pretend everything is well. They get what they deserve, which is nothing. These are people that will have dust erase even their names in front of God, and this I say because I'm certain of it. They should have done a poll, and they should have organized themselves to bring to light the constitutional anomaly that the title of Pope Emeritus does not exist. Here and there, some people have made their voice heard, but for the most part, everyone has proceeded as if nothing has ever happened, and things have continued like this for years. In the meantime, we have formed a little remnant, little Catholic remnant in Italy and around the world. Quite significant in its numbers and its identity, and then the will has grown to move on. and to go forward. The Marian Sodality was born. We have the Company of Maria, and now the Seminary of the Saint Curie of Ars. And in any case, this work goes ahead and is growing. Now, this is what I would like to talk to you about. As we were saying yesterday among us priests, and I hope that everyone today will follow this live stream, it is a very important one. The Magna Quaestio is another one. It is becoming another one. The Magna Quaestio, even among the people of the little Catholic remnant, is becoming another one. I will propose it to you because I believe, I'm certain that this issue inherent to the little Catholic remnant will bring purges. It will bring divisions and byproducts from the official little remnant that up until this point I've been guiding. My other brother priests think this will be the case as well, and we would like for you to know that we are ready for any eventuality. So what is the real question nowadays? It is not the notion that Bergoglio is not the Pope and that Benedict XVI died as the Pope because, on this point, everyone in the little Catholic remnant agrees. If we all agree, then, we need to understand what we need to do. As priests, we asked ourselves, what is the path and direction that we should follow? How are we to develop as the little Catholic remnant? I say this because if we just sit here, twiddling our thumbs, thinking what the prophecies are, some of you have written to me, and I'm not making this up. You've written to me saying, Father Minutella, stay calm, take it easy, don't follow your emotions. Do not destroy yourself. Listen to this person and to that person. Remain in your place. This remaining in our places precludes a risk for all of us, as it seems, for being considered a sectarian church. A risk I do not see because we are already living this reality. Haven't they been saying this for a while? You who are part of the little Catholic remnant only realize now that we are considered a repetition of the Palmarian Church. You're realizing this now? Isn't it true that they've been saying this for years? That we are a sect, that we took ourselves out of the church, and all those things? Where is your concern? Now the question is very important, my dear children, as it seems there is a bifurcation within the little Catholic remnant. I'm relating this to you because I'm free and honest, and I tell you the things I need to say face to face to all of you, even those who now are following other criteria and considerations. It is good that you know what I think and believe as important. Also because my brother priests have confirmed this, and they have given me permission to tell you these things. So the issue that keeps us united in the little Catholic remnant is that Bergoglio is not the Pope, and that the last Pope was Benedict XVI. But the following issue that now is rising in front of all of us is, what will we do next? It seems here there is a risk of turning into a una cum, that is in communion with Bergoglio. Be careful with this diabolical and insidious process within the little Catholic remnant. What do you mean, Father Minutella? For many years, the una cum have been waiting for Bergoglio to die, because after him, there will be a Pope that will free everyone from the present situation, and everything will go back to normal. We will go back to where we were, the little flowers, the birds, the singing of the swallows, and the sound of the bells. Bergoglio has been a nightmare, the church has always been as always, and we go on. Is this not what the una cum are waiting for? Am I wrong? Isn't it true that for years I've been yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs, saying that this is a useless utopia, because it will not be so? Now it seems that within the little Catholic remnant there is the development of a path in which Father Minutella is not needed anymore, if he accepts the prophecies of the great prelate. I'm only telling you what my brother priests are hearing. I've spoken with them and I'm supported by them. You need to think about the fact that right now, at this very minute, I have them here next to me. It appears Father Minutella is of no need any longer. And when he talks about the great prelate, he's not appreciated by a great number of people from the little remnant who do not want to hear of this. They have contracted the una cum virus. I will tell you. What do I mean by that? They expect the church will be saved from this same false church. They expect the institutional and legal structure occupied by the Satanists will be freed, and we finally Is this not the heir of the Unacum? And without realizing it, aren't they also become Unacum themselves? This is the question. What do you expect to receive from the headquarters of satanic power? As you know, I approve of all the initiatives, and I'm a person that has kept his feet planted on the ground up until now. No one can accuse me of being a millenarian, of being apocalyptic, one that tries to be an Italian Rasputin. They tried calling me a guru, a big saint, but it's of no use. This is why people follow me, because I'm as serious people listen, understand, and say, this person is really telling the truth. No one should expect me to run ahead, and no one should expect that I stay in my place either. I'm in this mission that is a pure folly. Since the beginning, it was a folly. On November 27th, it'll be the anniversary of my first gathering at Reggio Emilia in 2016. How many years have gone by? 7 years. 7 years ago, I had an event that was a folly, all because I answered the call of heaven. I'm ready for any other crazy initiative that heaven would like to send me. I will not look back. I do not care about what the world says, the newspapers, television, all my enemies. Might it be true that the enemies are fearing just this? Whoever understands should understand. No, otherwise the mistake is the same as that of the Unacum. Let's wait. Let's wait to see what happens. Let's wait. Let's send this, say blah, blah, blah. And we end up being just like the Unacum. Oh yes, Father Manutella, please stay calm. Someone told me about this Saturday in Rome. Well, they were invoking the great prelate, and many ended up at this point because within the little remnant there is a tremendous moat. In other words, there are those who want to proclaim the great prelate. They wait for him, they want him, and it looks as if they were disenchanted millenarians. Everyone, even those who told me I'm emotional, that I followed the processes, how disgraceful. After having been led out and away from the slavery of Egypt, thanks to yours truly, they long for the onions and niceties they had in Egypt, and they complain. It's totally unbelievable. Therefore, the fundamental question is that which Bergoglio guides, seeing that he is not the Pope, and on this point all of us agree, this is the only thing now that keeps us together as the little Catholic remnant, and that soon will be decimated. Bergoglio is not the Pope. He's a false Pope, because Benedict XVI was the last reigning Pope. We all agree on this. The issue that now I propose is that church that he guides and governs. Be careful here in this passage. That church is the occupied Catholic Church that can be freed by the cardinals nominated before Bergoglio. I recommend to you Cardinal Burke, who wrote to Bergoglio twice, and twice was sent to go to hell by him, by Bergoglio, and Burke stays quiet. What can we expect from this type of people? I do not know. Or maybe it is not the occupied church, but rather the false church that can never become the real church, as Father Robert said yesterday. In the meeting that we had yesterday, Father Robert said, this is the false church. It is not the occupied Catholic Church, correct? If it is false, it can never become true. Just the way they are convincing themselves now, in some part of the little remnant. It is a diabolical nonsense, really diabolical, because I've written, and I must have enemies in every corner now, the most deceived against yours truly will become soon my enemies. Be certain of this. Soon they will become my enemies because they think that when I speak in this way, I want to become the great prelate. They will have to answer to God because no one can know my intentions. I'm stating something which is legitimate and sacrosanct. The one we want to appeal to is the occupied Catholic Church. Then you are Unacum, disguised as members of the little Catholic remnant. Am I not correct? Is not 2 plus 2 equals 4? Maybe for some, for many of them. I don't know how many are in the little Catholic remnant, but in Rome, I had a chance to meet with them. They came to scold me amiably. With respect, they scolded me. They told me that I speak of the great prelate of the Third Secret of Fatima. They write to me and tell me that of what I must speak about. Teachers of Don Minutella's thinking write to me, and I will verify what I can talk about or not. Suffocate the spirit, suffocate the prophecies, and it is done. You become unakum in this way because they think like you, and you're becoming them without realizing it. We are in the presence of a process of becoming unakum on the part of the little Catholic remnant, similar with respect to the official unakum, who do not recognize Bergoglio as Pope. But even those, they do not see it. They expect that the Catholic Church will be freed. This maintains them united, the idea that the Church is occupied. No, my dear children. What has singled us out from the very first moment has been saying that there is the idea of the false church. This must be clear to everyone because Father Minutella does not backpedal. The leader in that institution is Satan. What do we have to write, say, do, or argue over? Obviously, I'm engaged in many initiatives now, and I've encouraged them, like the petition, as you know this. This is not a matter of politeness because I'm not formal, neither am I a hypocrite. I believe it. And you might say to me, but how is it possible? Did you believe in it? If then you tell us this, I believe in it for this, the fact that it will result in a historical document. That's it. Well, we could say that we tried everything, but who should we turn to if that is the same church? Now, if it is false, it can never become real, pending a request for clarification. I read to you what Catherine Emmerich says in her visions. I saw once again that the church is Peter's. This is Catherine Emmerich. Prophecy. Be patient. I'm like that. What would you want me to do? Write to me about what the unakumized parts of the little Catholic remnant like or don't like? Jesus says to the apostles, will you also be leaving? When he said something overwhelming, my flesh is your food. Many went their way after Jesus said that. It's written in the Gospels. Or am I mistaken? Jesus turns to the apostles and said, would you leave also? And Peter answers, Lord, to whom shall we go? Again, Catherine Emmerich says, I saw once again the church of Peter mined by a plan elaborated by a secret sect, Freemasonry, while the storms were damaging it. There you have it. This is the initial image from Catherine Emmerich, the blessed Catherine Emmerich, who talks again of the church over which a Masonic plan is being constructed. At one point, I saw a strange church that was being built against every rule. There were no angels to guard the construction operations. There was nothing in the church that came from heaven. There is only division and chaos. It's a church of human creation. It cannot be any clearer than that. And what will we do? Must we appeal to the church created by humans to ask to solve the Magna Quaestio? And if these individuals solve this for us and we go back to the structures that we have left, Saint Athanasius would never have done something similar. Let's say that they asked Athanasius to say, stay calm against Ario. Let's wait until Ario dies and then we can solve this problem. No, Saint Athanasius says, no, we'll leave this heretical chaos. We have left the false church. And then Catherine Emmerich adds, on September 12th, 1820, I saw again a strange great church that was being constructed in Rome. There was nothing holy in it, and all the work there was being done mechanically. Everything was being done according to human reason. There was something prideful, presumptuous, and violent in all of this, and it looked like they were very successful. I did not see one single angel or saint that would authorize this work. I see the Holy Father in anguish. He lives in a palace that is different from the previous one. Tell me if this is not a photographic vision. Hence, the construction of the false church. It coincides with Pope Benedict, who went to live in the Mater Ecclesia monastery, and very few would go there to visit him. This is incredible. The vision paints an almost photographic prophecy. I've written this in my books. When I comment on the visions of Catherine Emmerich, I write that we are in the presence of an almost photographic picture of reality. We do not need to interpret it as it is unique and very evident. While it's being constructed, this false and extravagant church, where there is no presence of God, is only a human creation. I see the Holy Father in great anguish. Benedict XVI, as he was the Holy Father, not the one who's in command of the false church. He lives in a palace that is different than the previous one, and he only receives a limited number of friends that are close to him. The Holy Father will suffer many trials before dying. And then on August 10th, 1820, she adds, I see it as a church full of darkness. Let's go court her. Let's write to her. Let's write to the Church of Darkness, because a few faithful from the little Catholic remnant want that. They say to Father Manutella, do not get ahead of yourself with talk of the great prelate, with this one and that one, because we have to appeal to the false Church of Darkness. Catherine Emmerich continues, but this man and that man and the other men, are they not? Yes, but they celebrate in union with Bergoglio, or am I wrong? And then in any case, they were not. And they remained there to rot for more than 10 years. They are not trustworthy. I will not cater to these people. I will not. I see a false church of darkness making great progress, and I see the tremendous influence that it has on people. Isn't that what we're dealing with right now? Now we're starting to experience it from within. I've told you this at the beginning of this very important live stream that will cause an upheaval never seen before, a mess never before seen. We are ready to combat our incredible battles. I've told you at the beginning. Do you know who will fall into the trap among those of the little remnant? Those who pray little and are full of themselves. These are the telltale characteristics. And the devil plays them. Those who belong to the little Catholic remnant must always be prayerful and humble. It is incredible that the devil is insinuating himself within the little remnant to take away for himself all those who believe that turning to the Holy See. What Holy See? And what Holy See of Egypt? Nothing exists anymore. The prophecies say so. God has knocked everything down. Either this penetrates our minds, or we will reduce ourselves to an offspring of the Onakum. The only difference we will have with them is that they recognize Bergoglio as the Pope and we do not. For the most part, we would accept the idea that this is the Catholic Church. Is that the Catholic Church? No. I will tell you, because you've asked me in written comments these days for me to say, not to be emotional, to stop talking about the great prelate. And there have been many of you. I ask you, with all due respect, but is the Catholic Church occupied by a false Pope? See you later. Go on your own path, because we, myself and my brother priests, are thinking that this is not the Catholic Church, that it is the false church of darkness, which is entirely different altogether. If that is the false church of darkness, why are we courting it? Why are we flirting with her? Why are we asking? What are we asking for? She says, what are we doing here? We trust in God as I entrusted myself to Him 7 years ago, November 27th, 2016, when, still as priest, with my bag, which I've saved, I left. To go where? Who knows? I will show you the way. Pay attention here. Our Lady appears to Catherine. I almost feel like crying. Look here. Our Lady appears to Catherine Emmerich after the construction of this false church, and she says various things which I must synthesize. They must pray fervently. She says, who must pray? That's obvious. The little remnant, those who have understood by divine inspiration, because they are humble and because they're always with the Blessed Rosary in their hands, that this is not the Catholic Church occupied by a heretical Pope. Since this morning, I've been forced to read in Stilium Curiae by Marco Tosatti about the intervention of Father D'Erasmo, who keeps discussing in every which way that, with regards to Bergoglio, he's not the Pope, but the Mass with him is valid. Very good. I wonder why they must keep repeating it. Maybe because, without anyone asking, they must insist. It's because they don't believe it themselves. They know in their conscience that Father Minutella is right. Then keep your Pope. They are waiting for him to die so that the Church can be freed. They have started to understand it, that it will not be so, but they insist. We have always had a clear picture of that Church. As Catherine Emmerich says, that is the false church of darkness. They must pray that the church of darkness abandon Rome. Therefore, we have the false church that must be destroyed. There you have it. There are other incredible passages in these visions seen by Catherine Emmerich. Listen to this passage from September 27, 1820. Not many were still very pious and developed, and still very few had a clear vision of the way things were. There is no little remnant. All you must do is add Father Minutella, the Marian sodality. Incredible. And while this false church of darkness settles in, says Catherine Emmerich, I saw that they were still pious and only a few had a healthy vision of the way things really were. And further, the Protestant doctrine of the schismatics must spread. Now I see that in this palace, the church is undermined in such a way, a cunning way, that there remains only 100 priests in the world that have not been tricked. Everybody is working towards destruction, even the clergy. Devastation draws near. The larger part of priests was attracted by seducing doctrines, and they all contributed to the work of destruction. In those days, the faith will dwindle away, and it will be preserved only in some places, in a few homes, with few families, that God has protected from the disasters and from wars. There, and then within this context of the false church of darkness, which, with every evidence, is what we lean on. We believe that this church is occupied by a false pope. I feel that within the little remnant, this path is being taken. I'm very sorry. Myself and my brother priest, from the very beginning, will maintain our distance. We have decided yesterday, and we are telling you today, we do not believe, as some of those in the little remnant do, that Bergoglio's church, that he is guiding as a false and invalid pope, is still the Catholic Church, from which we should expect something positive. From the outset, we have said, and we continue to sustain, that this is the false church of darkness, and that therefore, from our perspective, it doesn't merit any attention. In other words, this must be very clear, and Catherine Emmerich and the other mystics and prophecies you're familiar with talk about the arrival of a great prelate. I do not want to irritate anyone who has advised me in Rome to stop making prophetic discourses, because now is the time in which we must wait for the Holy See to move against Bergoglio. And I must tell you the truth. This notion, from which my brother priest said that I'm correct, I cannot approve of this. I cannot approve it, because we do not believe that the church is still the Catholic Church. Of course, this raises a series of problems. But, my dear children, we are used to problems, and we will try to solve them. One does not espouse the truth based on what is convenient or not, or based on one's comfort level and personal self-interest. It might be that God is renouncing to give us the gift of the great prelate and the other graces because he sees that we are still here, taking a shot at Christ and another at St. John, and that exactly we have come out of Egypt, but we are looking back, reminiscing. That is incredible. Well, okay, maybe now Pharaoh Ramses II will die and the Egyptian court will listen to us. And then he was indeed a terrible Pharaoh. But now, yes, either have seen the 10 plagues of Egypt, but now, here you are, Moses, you have made us cross the Red Sea. But here in the desert, we don't feel very well. Let's go back to Egypt. Let's make a request. Let's go back to Egypt. I worry that a part of the little remnant wants to return to Egypt, which means asking the false church of darkness to intervene to salvage the salvageable. With this, I'm not stating that we should back up on various initiatives, mainly the one of the petition, which, considering the things that are being said, I invite you to sign because, in any case, it remains a historical document. I'm also being very precise, as my brother priests have asked me to be, on how things are proceeding and what we are thinking. And then naturally, my dear children, let it be what it will be. But what we need to have certain is that the prophecies talk of a false church of darkness, and it is not only about Bergoglio. All those who are in communion with him are officially branded in the false church of darkness. And St. Paul states, and what relationship is there between Christ and Belial? None. There is no relationship between Christ and Belial. What relationships could there be between all of us and those who are in communion with Bergoglio? He continues, they must believe that it's not going to last long. Then they expect that while he is dead, there will be somebody coming after him that will be worse than him. And I've said these things, even this passage within the little Catholic remnant that invites me to stay calm. How can they believe they can do something if they don't know? And many have said that they know after Bergoglio another worse than him will come. How would we want to save the church while flirting with the false church of darkness? My question is very serious, and I ask you to examine your conscience. Those in the little Catholic remnant, my question is very clear. Should we flirt with the structures of the false church of darkness, or do we believe at this point, stating clearly, that is not the Catholic Church, but it is a false church, which is occupied by a false pope. Therefore, the only problem is the short circuit of the anti-pope, as has happened in the course of the centuries. No, our vision is much broader. Why should we care if we are left all alone? We will not renounce this. It is not the Catholic Church occupied by the invalid election of an anti-pope alone. And in any case, it could be solved as it was solved in the past. Our vision is much larger, much more encompassing. Our vision talks about the false church of darkness that has built a reality that is completely human. And at this moment, more than ever, we must be clear and honest with ourselves. From now on, as the brother priests in the sodality have established, let's make it clear. I'm only the spokesperson, and I obey the direction that heaven gives me. Let's make it clear, those who belong to the little Catholic remnant since the very beginning and beyond, who believe that is not, or is the Catholic Church occupied by a false pope, go and create for yourselves another reality because we believe differently. We priests of the Marian sodality maintain that is not the Catholic Church occupied by a false pope, and we are trying everything to free her. No. That is the false church of darkness. And as Father Robert said yesterday in our meeting, we cannot wait for this false church to become true. The prophecies speak very clearly. The false church must be destroyed by the Holy Virgin. And in the meantime, how many times have we said these things? The false church is destroyed and true Catholicism will survive in a little remnant. It is all written. Well, excuse me, but those who are about to leave because Father Minutel has become the reason and who wants to become the great prelate, weren't you in agreement with what the young theologian Ratzinger was saying in 1969 when he was talking about a prophetic clandestine little remnant that will be persecuted, that will be insignificant and relegated to a ghetto? You are all in agreement with this? So where is your amazement now that we are fulfilling these things? What would you like to obtain? Do you want to see the false church of darkness liberate itself from Bergoglio? It will still remain false. It's not for the fact that Bergoglio is not there anymore, and so the cardinals decide to intervene to elect a new pope, that will become the true church. No, there will not be a true pope in a false church. It's very contradictory. It's impossible. There could never be a real pope in a false church. So then what? Well, then the prophecies fulfill themselves, and here we need lots of prayer, courage, and faith. I've also said this to my brother priest. The Holy Virgin, when she gave her yes to God, knew that opening the door and saying, I am pregnant, who was it? Come here, we are going to stone you. That was her reality. She trusted in God. When I was in the seminary, I read many writings from the Socrates of the North, Soren Kierkegaard, the Danish Protestant philosopher, whom I very much appreciate. I see myself there that there was no connection. As I was saying, he was Protestant, but I appreciated him very much. He wrote a beautiful text in which he talks about the faith of Abraham. And there, once and for all, I understood something real. God never fulfills his work in the history of the church for the goodness of humanity, if not through a yes or a fiat like Mary's, which has to go through total darkness. It is a type of dying, much more suffer than physical death. It's a sort of death. Then you can come and ask me later, and I'll tell you, it is a death. It is a leap into darkness. The Lord asks us to jump. Not before or after you will see. He says, first I want you to trust me. First I want you. We have been chosen to believe it. You must believe in it. In this way, others will believe the darkness, because it's the little remnant that must trust in divine initiative. What will we do? Should we not trust divine initiative? Or maybe we will wait for the false church to save Roman Catholicism? So the question is more than legitimate at this point. False church or occupied church? We believe that Bergoglio is not only the ecclesiastical consortium governed by a false pope, for which the Magna Quaestio becomes again the Catholic Church, or it has always been the Catholic Church. Whoever thinks this cannot remain in the little remnant, in union with the Marian synodality. We believe and think that this is the false church of darkness, that is fulfilling the prophecies told by Catherine Emmerich of the third secret of Fatima. And to conclude here, I would like to remind you of the words of Padre Pio and Father Gabriele Amorth in 1960 when he said, Gabriele, it is Satan that has introduced himself in the church, and he will come to govern a false church. False means it is not real. It means it can never be real, no matter what we try to do. False means it can never be true. With all of this, that does not mean that we will not be moving ahead, that we will transform into Rasputins, that we will listen to apocalyptic obsessions. We proceed with our feet planted on the ground and with a clarity coming from me that you've come to appreciate. I hope you all have understood. I hope that once and for all, everyone understands clearly how things really are. Very well. I remind that tonight at 9 o'clock, we have our live stream on 100 Days as a Line, and then we will have our round table. I don't know if the latter will be live, as it will take place at a town theater of Camino al Tagliamento. Tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon, we are at Re di Puglia in the province of Gorizia. Saturday we'll be in Verona, Sunday at Tre Baseliche, Tuesday in Ancona, and Wednesday in Bologna. Now we have a little bit of time for phone calls. Let's see if we have our first one. Good afternoon, Father. My name is Maria Elena, and I'm from the province of Perugia. Here we are. Maria Elena, may Jesus Christ be praised. May he always be praised. Well, I just wanted to make a comment on the petition of Andrea Chonci. So I grew up in Argentina and I speak Spanish. I wrote to a few channels that rightly follow our thinking about the false church and recognize Benedict as the last pontiff. They have done this to promote their own channels, because I noticed that a lot of signatures are missing from the Hispanic world. Yes. Oh well, I don't know if because of a little pride or jealousy, I see that not much is happening from that part of the world regarding the signatures, regarding the petition. Yes, I can tell you how I feel about it. One last thing that I wanted to say, I understand that this petition from a practical point of view might not be that useful, but from a symbolic point of view in front of the Catholic world, in the worldly sense, and from an Italian standpoint, it is important that the petition remain, because words come and go, but a signature remains. Certainly. Certainly the petition is not to be questioned, not at all, because we have sponsored it. Naturally, I've always been a step behind out of respect of Andrea Cionci, who organized and published and publicized it and has pushed it forward. I'm only encouraging it, and I continue to do so. I will intervene on the reasons why. In my view, the Hispanic world does not participate very well in this. I believe it's not only a question of jealousy, but because the Hispanic world, mostly the Latin American one, is a little volatile. I've experienced this myself. People that come here to stay with us, that enjoy our hospitality, but then when they leave, suddenly they abandon us. This is a typical characteristic of the Latin American population. It pains me to say this, but I've experienced it. So I believe that it depends also on this, and naturally it should be mostly us Italians signing this petition, because this petition should be able to remain as a historical document, obtaining what it may. I don't know exactly, but naturally we priests of the Marian Sodality have discussed amongst ourselves. We've talked about what goals we can reach, and so to speak, we are waiting for the results of this petition. I believe we said it would be around Pentecost, more or less, between Easter and Pentecost, no longer than that, because we risk falling into the trap of Masonic tactics. That is, that of making us believe that an answer will come, that they are working on something, and meanwhile, the little remnant ends up dissolving itself. We know this very well. Hello, good afternoon, dear Father. May Jesus Christ be praised. May he always be praised. My name is Paola, Father. I'm from Milan, and I'm a person who considers you to be a great gift, one of the many enormous graces that Our Lady has given me. Yes, I wanted to tell you that I love you very much. Thank you. I agree with everything you've said. We should believe in this. Yes, because if we want to, we should close our eyes. That is, it's a gift of the Holy Spirit to also ask for this gift of discernment. Let's always go forward in this way, and I'll sustain you with my prayers. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It is the price I must pay. I never really would have imagined. It is very notable. There are always new frontiers. If it's possible, let's try to remain united. But here we have the Marian Sodality, the ministers of the gospel, and to see it clearly, we are the ones giving the direction. We are the ones, and this is important for people to know. My brother priest told me yesterday, let's help the faithful sign the petition. Father Johannes was saying that in any case, it's a historical document of great value, of priceless value, that Dr. Cionci has started. He is attacked by the Unicum. He is paying a very high price himself. At the same time, we'd like to let you know that for us, that is not the church. We needed to highlight this, and we need to underline everything about this for the little Catholic remnant. We priests of the Marian Sodality, we believe that is not the Catholic Church occupied by a false pope or by an anti-pope, but rather it's a false church of darkness, and so there's nothing that we should expect from it. It's very important that this be known. Hello, good afternoon, Father Alessandro. May Jesus Christ be praised. May he always be praised. This is Elena. Father Alessandro, I'd like to intervene on this theme that you have spoken about today. So I'm going to make my humble consideration as you define it for us. I'm one amongst those little remnant who has always followed you, and I've always remained in my place, as you know, with lots of respect for what you are trying to accomplish with humility, recognizing this as a tremendous mission. My consideration now is this: these individuals who have shown up now, do they realize what we are living? Those of us who have followed you for a very long time now, it is not in front of everyone's eyes, clear as day, but they don't realize that instead of talking blah, 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 why don't they unite with us and pray in silence, asking the Holy Virgin to send us many priests, just like all of you? I have such a rage inside of me, Father, because this consideration of mine is legitimate, as I found myself personally being hunted outside of my church, and I was told that I would not be accepted any longer, that they would not provide me with the sacraments and communion because I was following Father Minutella. This is my testimony. So I'm trying to appeal to these people. Better to take up the rosary in your hands and pray. Pray so that the Virgin Mary will send us many priests. It is a real shame, Father, a real shame. Thank you for your clear appeal. I'm saying this, Father, with my heart in my hands. Yes, I can hear it. That's because I've said to the Holy Mother, please let me connect on this call. Oh, and I said it out loud. It's a real shame. Thank you. Have a blessed day, Father, and always forward with Mary. Very well with this phone call. It is one of confession, a very vibrant, passionate, and suffered call regarding the things that we are living. My dear children, we conclude this rubric hoping that it has clarified many things for you concerning the complex situation that we are in. And let's not allow the enemy to divide us if possible, for we priests of the Marian Synodality are here, and today we have tried to clarify for everyone in the little Catholic remnant what we have understood in our priestly conscience and what we consider fundamental. That is, we believe that Bergoglio is guiding a church that is not the Catholic Church occupied by a false pope. We cannot always hope that once he is gone and the Magna Quaestio will be addressed, we can continue to go on like this, as if nothing ever happened. That is a false church of darkness. Roman Catholicism, as Ratzinger foresaw back in 1969, will continue to survive, as it is happening, in a little Catholic remnant, and God will know how to govern and guide it. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. May Christ be praised, and let's go forward with Mary.